The next speaker exercising the right of reply is Ecuador. You have the floor.
Gracias.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. My delegation is taking the floor for the right of reply, given the statement made by the Secretary of Foreign Affairs of the current Mexican government, Ms. Alicia Bárcena, regarding the incident which took place in the Mexican embassy in Quito on the 5th of April 2024. Ecuador is a country which respects international law and the principles and values enshrined in the UN Charter. In her statement, the Secretary of Foreign Affairs of the Government of Mexico omitted to mention that this incident is the subject of a process before the ICJ, nor that the court has disregarded the request by Mexico for provisional measures to be taken regarding the protection of its embassy. As to the events prior to the 5th of April 2024, it has shed light on the exceptional circumstances under which the Ecuadorian authorities were obligated to enter the Mexican embassy to arrest a fugitive from justice, an isolated event, and we did so to combat impunity. That needs to be said. The current government of Mexico allowed a citizen of our country with 2 sentences against him for corruption and other crimes, including one gender-based violence, to enter and stay in the embassy in Quito as a guest. The government of Mexico, the current government of Mexico, despite the multiple diplomatic efforts by Ecuador, did not hand over this fugitive as it was obligated to the Ecuadorian authorities, and ultimately illegally gave that individual political asylum. In proceeding in that way, the current government of Mexico did not comply with international conventions, the 1933 Convention and the 1954 Caracas Convention, which clearly state that it is not legal to grant asylum to individuals who are charged with common crimes by competent courts, as is the case here. The government of Mexico also violated the Vienna Convention on Diplomatic Relations, which imposes the obligation to respect the laws and rules of the host state and the obligation not to interfere in internal affairs of the host state and not to use diplomatic premises in a manner incompatible with their functions. At the same time, the government of Mexico violated the principles of sovereign integrity, territorial integrity, and non-interference in the internal affairs of states enshrined in the UN Charter and the Charter of the OAS and customary international law. The government of Mexico also violated its obligation to cooperate in corruption matters in accordance with the Inter-American Convention of 1966 on corruption and the UN 2003 Convention. This violation of international law should not be normalized or accepted. And for that reason, Ecuador on the 29th of April this year submitted a case to the ICJ against Mexico. Thank you.
I thank the delegation of Ecuador